There are men that are poorer, weaker, less intelligent, that are turning their wives on more, making them happier, and keeping them chasing and attracted. Now, I know that may sting the ego a little bit, but being ignorant to the facts that I'm going to share with you today will hold you back from the life you deserve to live with her. So in today's video, I'm going to share with you why husbands dumber than you are winning their wives back. I'm going to do this by sharing a personal, embarrassing story about how a girl was stolen right from in front of my face by a guy who was, well, you'll see. And then a story from a woman in Mexico who was drunk, and she told me about this man that made her rip her clothes off that was way better than her ex-husband for a lot of reasons you may not realize. And then understanding this, by the way, will allow you to develop aspects of yourself that she secretly craves. But if you don't get this down, that ego is going to get in the way from you learning these truths that are going to keep you happy. And if you don't, you're going to live ignorant to the facts of these things I'm going to share with you. So let's just jump in. Now, before I set the stage for today's concept, I have to talk about this thing that's getting in the way of you actually understanding it. It is your enormous, giant oppression, or ego for short. It's so often the common thread among the men who never save their marriages or keep their wives happy. When I first speak with them or hear call recordings from the other coaches, they say things like, well, Josh, if it wasn't for her depression, then, we wouldn't be going through this. Josh, she went through menopause, and ever since then, it's just things haven't been the same, Josh, she started this new career, and because she got this promotion, now she's at work all the time. I can go on about her. Look, what happens is that when you experience a trauma or a rejection or whatever you want to define this thing as, that you're going through this difficult time in your life, what happens is that your ego is going to want to protect yourself. It's going to want to look for things outside of yourself in reaction to the environment to say, this thing happened to me, not because of me. I'm a victim in this, okay? Now, we have whole videos dedicated to how to overcome that victim mentality on this channel, the actual opposite of the apex male. But what I want to let you know is that just for this video, if you could just imagine just taking this ego, right, just like balling it up all inside you and just literally putting it aside just for this video and letting the information absorb into you. And then you could just put that thing, that protective mechanism back on you. But just for today's video, just put it aside, okay? Now, how did I learn this lesson? Well, I had the fortunate opportunity of getting rejected a lot earlier on in my life, a lot more. For most men, it's their wife is their first giant rejection, okay? For a lot of the guys I work with, because you met your wife a long time ago and you guys have been together. She's like your main woman, right? But for me, I was rejected plenty, let me tell you. One time in particular, I had this idea for this video smack dab in my face, okay? I was at a college party and there was this girl I had a huge crush on in my class. She was the girl. I would go home imagining, okay, on Thursday when I see her in class, I'm gonna say these exact things to her. It's gonna lead to this. And I was building up day by day the schedule of exactly how we're gonna fall in love with each other, okay? Well, it was actually working for a while. Right, I was walking home with her from school a bunch. I got her number, things are building up. I was already planning the wedding. And then one day she said she was gonna go to a party that I knew I was going to as well. And I was like, okay, this is my moment. This is the time where I'm gonna be able to just confess my crush to her and all this stuff. So we get to the party and then I see her and my heart starts pounding. It's I can't even approach her. I was just so nervous because I'd built so much in my head, right? But liquid courage was a thing in college, so I had a couple of those and I washed them down my throat and I felt the courage to walk up to her. And we were talking and actually hitting it off. She was laughing with me, but then the conversation started to die. That's when I saw my friend at the time, my roommate actually, Jason, walk into the door. Now, Jason is about a foot smaller than me, okay, about 5'4", 5'5". He would say 5'6" with shoes on, 5'5", and super charismatic, but dad bod, just didn't take care of himself that well, but people loved him. He was just that guy where, it was something about him. Everyone has that person they can think of in their life where it's just maybe it was you a whole long time ago, but everyone just loved this guy, right? So I'm thinking he's gonna save me. I'm like, Jason, come over here. He walks right up to me, okay? And he starts talking. He's like, Josh, what's up, man? We start laughing together. She starts laughing. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. This is going well again. But all of a sudden, I started to notice something. I started to notice that every time I would tell a joke, she kind of ignored it. And her shoes, her feet started shifting over to him. Her body language started shifting over him. All the attention was going to Jason. And so I was I had the bright idea of saying, okay, you know what? I'm just gonna walk away, right? And then she'll get bored of him and she'll miss me. And I have a lot more history with her. We have a lot more in common. I mean, Jason was sitting there saying all the things that they didn't have in common. He was teasing her and like making fun of her. And I was like, they have logically nothing in common. She shouldn't want him. But guess what happened? Go to the bathroom, I go to a different room in the party, come back, can't find them. Text Jason, doesn't answer. I'm asking people around the party. Finally heard someone say, oh, they left together. I didn't want to go home that night, so I didn't. I had to sit there and reconcile how this gorgeous, perfect, beautiful woman ended up with Jason. A guy who was smaller than me, less physically attractive, right? I had all these things in common with her. I had to understand why. You see, here's the truth. Jason met and activated her Aphrodite mechanism. I'll explain what that is in a bit, but let me first go a little bit more deeper in sharing a study by Dr. Jordan Peterson on attraction.
Don't assume that women are after wealth. What they assume is that women will use markers of wealth as indicators of productive competence.
You see, I hear a lot of men say about their wives leaving them, Josh, we had this perfect life. I provided for her all financially. I have everything on paper. Her wife, her sisters, everyone says that she's crazy for leaving me. And this guy that she's leaving me for, he's a mechanic or has his normal 9-to-5 job, or like they belittle the other guy that she's leaving with. He's less attractive, so on and so forth. So why is she with him? And the only answers that these guys can come up with is like, oh, she's escaping, or he's a temporary replacement, or something like that. But in reference to the clip of Dr. Peterson and tying together this story, a woman is looking for the internal qualities, not the external. Let me share a quote that I came up with that I'm so proud of. So let me just share with you. The man who is on the climb is infinitely more attractive than the man on top of the mountain because he takes her on a journey. Woman, your wife, rather have a man with ambition and no money than a man with all the money and no ambition. She'd rather have a man that is confident and self-loving in his body and who he is as a man than having this perfect body who is insecure. I can go on and on about the internal qualities versus the external. And most men, this is probably you, most men when they met their wife, what was it like? You didn't have the money at the time, a lot of guys didn't, right? You didn't have all these external things that now you're relying on for why she should be with you, why she should be happy, right? But you had the internal traits. The reason why this happens is that as a man, once you reach that top of that mountain, that echelon, you want to relax. You've gotten to a place in your life where like, I'm good. You can relax when you're fucking dead. Okay? You can relax when you are fucking dead. You've given up. Tap in. Find that deeper meaning. Push yourself. Get that motivation back. Where did it go? Maybe you have in other aspects of your life still, but even the motivation with doing things for her, right? Taking her on these, not these trips that are just like spending money, but like that mindful attention. Remember, you used to like remember all these little facts and details about her and would come up with these cute little dates and trips, and she doesn't feel that from you. That other guy is providing her with all of those needs she has from the internal qualities that he has. Maybe not all of them, I'll correct that. But there's something that he has that you're not giving her anymore. Bitter, hard pill to swallow. The thing is, the beautiful thing is that you can give her those things because they are inherent inside of you. You just have to remember where they are. You lost them. Pick them back up. So I told you I would end with a final point on this. I remember, this is just kind of a button on it all. I was in Mexico for this business retreat, and this woman there, she was divorced, and I was told her what I did, and she started telling me a story about how when she divorced her husband, there was this neighbor that came over, and they were both single at the time, and this guy was 50 pounds heavier than her husband, smaller, objectively less attractive, her words, and she had to get her sink fixed, right? And so he walks into the house, right? And the first thing he does, he goes, "Hey, where's the sink? Cool, pour me a glass of whiskey." And she was like, "Okay." He goes up there, fixes the sink, downs the whiskey, looks at her and says, "All right, do this, this, and this. And you know what? I'm gonna see you later tonight at 7. We're gonna have dinner. Make me some dinner." And leaves. Like, that was her words. And she was like, "Honey, Oh my God, I was about to faint. We had dinner all right, and then dessert. I need to work on my southern accent, but that's what she said, man. And the point is that this guy, like, less attractive than her husband, all these things, it adds to the point that as a man, you're thinking of what she wants from the masculine perspective, logically, okay? There are these other inherent qualities that she has, that she wants, these needs that you used to have, that you forgot, or you didn't even realize that's the things that she actually wanted. You let society dictate what value was, not what she actually wanted in her behavior. So, tap back into that behavior, okay? Tap back into that internal resource. In our program, we have lots of exercises, techniques, supports, and coaching to do so. So if you are interested in getting that support, you can click the link down below. Make sure you're fully committed to setting up a call with our marriage evaluators. And finally, you can watch this video around the screen to start flirting to stop the divorce. It's a similar concept, but it goes into the more practical aspects of all this. See you in the next video.